everybody. Welcome to the Imagination is God stream. I am Kelly, and you are God. And because you're God, you can have, do, and be absolutely anything you want. So always imagine the best for yourself and the world at large. And also, let me give a shout out to Complicated, who does the music for this stream. He wasn't live this weekend because he had a gig a little bit distance from where he lives. But he should be alive again next Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Right now, there's not a he doesn't have a prior show up, but he has been streaming a lot more of like when he goes out and does gigs now. Like most recently, he streamed a wedding that he played at, and I mean he's awesome. So go ahead and give him a follow. So today, I'm not going to do a lecture. We're going to do a very practical exercise, and talking about rewriting your story is a very common concept amongst the manifesting imagination community, because at the core of it is your self-identity, who you identify as, how you think of yourself, the character you're playing, and out of that springs your story, your life story, which is something we're mentally creating. It's interesting for me because for the longest time people would ask, and it's even the you'll see in a little bit, it's in the graphic at the top of the program I'm going to be using to write this in. And people would ask, like, what is your story? And to that, I'd always be like, well, my life doesn't really have a narrative. I have a series of experiences, but they're not necessarily reduced to a story, to a narrative format. But that's just not true. So even if they're not a traditional arc plot or arch plot, however you pronounce it, you still have stories that you're repeating in your mind and holding in place in your mind about who you are and what happens to you and why it happens to you and how your life tends to go and the kind of people you tend to meet. And these things, as you continue to dwell upon them, continue to manifest out again and again and again, and you put them on a loop, on a natural loop. And out of that collective of experiences, you do have this story and this character that you're identified with, and that will continue to create in your life as long as you continue to identify with it. So what we're doing today is we're going to look at specific aspects, or they're genericized specifics, of your life story, and I'll show you how to rewrite them. This idea came to me because everybody talks about rewriting your story. I haven't seen anybody actually do it. Now that's what we're going to do. We're going to actually do it. But the idea came to me when I was reading YouTube comments on a manifesting video, and I saw this really long comment from a person describing their circumstances related to the thing they really wanted to manifest and their thoughts about it, and in great detail. And I was like, I know the exact reason you're getting the results you're getting. It's because of everything you just said. Nothing you just said and identified with is what you want. You all the reasons are right there in front of you, and you're telling the whole world about them. That's why you keep living that, because you keep focusing on that and staying there, and making these things true. Your belief is manifesting out in all these really crappy ways for you. And when I see comments like that, I'm like, I don't know how to reply to them individually, because I know it's all just an emanation of self anyway. But I know that person they have to rewrite that story themselves. And the best way, if you're here watching this video, you want to do it, right? You obviously have the motivation to do it. And the best starting point is to write that story now, your current circumstances now, how you think about it now. And an interesting way to sort of provoke that because it's your dominant state, is if you were going to leave a comment like that, whether it's on a video or in a forum on the topic you want. Maybe it's an advice video, or maybe it's someone else's success story. Whatever you're tempted and think when you see that to write out, that is your actual dominant story right now. And so the reason why a lot of affirmations never work is because even though the person has their affirmations, that's not their identity, that's not their belief, that's not their story. Their story is this thing they're looping that they'll confess in a random, Facebook post that has nothing to do with what they want. Um, so what we're gonna do is we'll switch over in a second, and we'll do these, and they'll be like genericized, because I want to make them, I just want to show you how to do it. And the way I'm going to do it is that I'm not going to write one and then the other. I will rewrite it. And so where the original isn't there anymore. Now you could do it however you want to do it, however you feel is best for you, where you could write what you don't want, your current circumstances, how you think about them, how you predominantly feel, and then write, your desired reality and how you think and predominantly feel about that. And you could save both of them if you want. It's up to you. But I'm going to actually rewrite over it. So let's scoot. I'll show you guys how we're doing it. So yeah, what is your story? When I saw that for the cover as a cover option, I was like, well, let's go with that. That's perfect. Now, if you've already been doing this in another way, and you're like, well, I already have my desired story. Should I even do this again? I think yes, it is important to do it again, because in that initial look, tell me right now, what's the deal? What's going on with you? Where are you at? If that isn't shifted into the new thing you want yet, and you have this desired story that you want to live out, but when I ask you what's going on right now, and you're still in a state you've been in for like 5 months, and that's all comes out in what you would say right now, this is going to be helpful, because when you're doing this, my advice, though you do whatever you want, would be to make that shift natural. Don't exaggerate it too much where it's unbelievable to you right now. Because I have experienced where when I tried to do that, when I rewrote a story into a more fantastical version, that I couldn't identify with it. It didn't feel possible to me, based on my current state. And a lot of imaginal activity still didn't get me totally there. So shifting it more subtly might be helpful in this regard. And then you can just continue to shift it. Because then once that manifests out, you're fully confident in that new reality, shift it again, keep shifting it. So to start out with, I did self-concept, but this is self-concept related to manifesting. The other ones we're going to write live. Because self-concept can be about any aspect of your life, but I ended up making it about manifesting. And again, these are not, some of it might be semi-confessional, but a lot of it's just kind of a compilation of stuff I've seen, stuff I would think people are struggling with. It's, like I said, genericized yet specific. Because I just wanted you guys to get the gist of how you would be doing this for you. All right. So this person says, I first learned about manifesting 6 months ago. Since then, I've manifested a few interesting small things, but none of the big things I want. I get confused by hearing all these different rules. I am not sure what works for me. I still feel very unsuccessful, and it carries over into my ability to imagine and manifest. I don't know what to do in order to move out of this. It seems like 1 step forward, 10 steps back. Now that I did make it exaggerated, because a lot of times when we're in a less than desirable state, we can really exaggerate how bad things are when they're really not that bad. Okay, so to start out, I first started my manifesting 6 months ago. I would leave that. You can even revise that eventually to be like, I've always understood the principles of manifesting. I just needed a reminder. But we'll leave it at that, and we'll just move on to since then. I have manifested, let's make it 2 really big things I wanted, and too many other things to list. Most importantly, I know my power now. I get confused by hearing all these different rules. I understand the law and know what works for me because I paid attention to what I was doing. And that we can delete this I am not sure works for me as a result. I still feel very unsuccessful in karaoke. And here we're going to go with a more subtle shift of success is still pretty new to me, but it feels great and easy to replicate. I don't know what to do in order to move out of this. Okay. Again, we're going to go with a little subtle shift. For a while, it felt like I couldn't get out of confusion and some old unwanted states, and we're gonna just delete it. Seems like one step forward, one step back, and kind of wrap that in there. But the more I pressed on and decided that I would live the life I want, no matter what, things got easier. One by one, day by day, I felt more confident and I had more and more manifestations. They happened faster and the unfoldings got easier. Now I feel confident that I can manifest anything I want. Now, when it comes to, the big things, little things, everybody will tell you, there is no big or small. And yeah, but here's the deal. There is a big and small because you create it mentally. You decide what's a big thing for you. And so sometimes taking the time to make something big to you seem small to you is easier to do by adjusting how overall you think your life goes, as opposed to de-emphasizing the importance on this specific issue. Well, not issue, but area of your life that you want to see movement in. And so to make that practical, let's say you're very, very invested in your career. That's a cornerstone of who you think of yourself to be. And it's just important to you to have a certain level of career success that's very personally important to you. Instead of tackling that directly and looking at the specific project you're trying to deal with right now, or the specific job you're trying to move into right now, I hate to use the Abraham Hicks phrase of going general, but really to go general about how your life unfolds and think things like things just tend to work out to me. I know I got this. I know how to manifest, so this will work the same with this. It doesn't matter that I want it more. The law always works the same. It doesn't matter that I'm really, really attached to a specific outcome. That just means that it's more likely I'm going to get it. The stronger the desire, the more God within me wants me to experience that and only that. So those kind of thoughts are more helpful than tackling that, specific area of your life. Now, to go specific, we're going to look at specific person. And this is we're going to go with a romantic type of relationship because that is what I see a lot of people want, and the comment that inspired this was a person wanting a relationship. I will go with they for a pronoun so that this is fairly gender neutral. Because no matter your sex gender identity and their sex gender identity, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. Okay, so let's say I have been manifesting my ex back for 6 months. But right now, I'm just going to write the person's story and then we're going to rewrite it. We're not going to rewrite it as we go. We're going to write it all out. So when you're doing this too, write it all out and then go back and rewrite it because you want to just put what you're thinking and feeling right now. I've been manifesting my ex back for 6 months. They contacted me once, but nothing else. I feel like manifesting doesn't work for me. I'm not sure what to do. I miss them so much. I wonder if it's easier just to try to forget them and move on. I get so upset when I see success stories, and I know I am doing even more than them and getting nowhere. And this is a very dramatic one, but however it's playing out for you, you know, it might be similar and you might have had some of these thoughts at some point. And sorry if any of these feel really uncomfortable, but you have to understand, like, if you are manifesting something like this and one of these statements really like hurts you, that's an indicator that you're still identified with it. So that's something you're going to need to shift. So even pain can be useful. Okay, let's see if we want to really add much to this person's story. Let's add like that they've been doing certain things. I have been imagining being with them every day. I have done a bunch of scenes and have a whole list of affirmations that I do every day, but nothing is. Let's re-emphasize if the person keeps saying nothing is happening. When nothing is happening, oh, and let's add in something about another person. My friends tell me to move on, that it is hopeless. Okay. Alright. I'm just laughing because when you're in those bad states and when you're experiencing it, you know, you feel it's really real. And it can be really despondent and awful. But then when you see these things like objectively, they're funny in a way. Okay. So, number one, I have been manifesting my ex back for 6 months. There is so much wrong with this mindset. Okay. Just this phrase, I have been manifesting, is you telling yourself that you've been working on it, not I've been experiencing it. I've been trying to get it. So it's the totally wrong mindset, okay? And then X. If you're with somebody, they're not your ex. Controversy. All right? And then emphasis on the time. So the more you focus on that time apart, the more you experience more time apart. It's annoying because the mind wants to do that. The mind wants to say, for not just a relationship or for anything that's taking a long amount of time, the mind wants to tell you, oh my God, it's been 2 years. Oh my God, you've been trying to do this for 10 years now. Oh my God, it's been 2 days. Whatever amount of time, the mind tries to tell you that the amount of time lapsed somehow makes it less likely for this thing to occur. But that's totally false. So to rewrite this, we're going to say, I was manifesting my, and we'll go with partner, but because I want to genericize it, but if this person, if you want them to be your boyfriend, make it boyfriend. You want them to be your girlfriend, make it girlfriend. You want them to be husband, make it husband. You want them to be wife, make it wife. If it would just be partner for you, keep it as partner. In other words, this replacement word needs to be the end goal. Okay, so I was manifesting my spouse, even if there's never been a proposal or marriage, and then girlfriend, boyfriend, even if that was never a title that y'all had, or if they even said you're not my boyfriend, girlfriend anymore, whatever, put that there. They're not your ex. Don't stop thinking of, if you more you think of them as your ex, the more they have to play that role. You're literally, that if you've ever written or read a play or a movie, there's a description to every character. So when you say, let's say it is a boyfriend named Brad, either Brad, ex-boyfriend. That's Brad's role. He has to play that role. He can't play husband if you're saying in your mind, Brad, your ex. Okay, so you need to change that. That's big thing to change. I was manifesting my partner, and I'm wondering if we should leave the time out of it completely. I was manifesting my partner for 6 months, and he, I don't know. I feel like, well, if it's predominant in this person's mind that they only contacted you once, it's going to be hard to delete that necessarily. So we're going to keep that, but then we're going to, delete nothing else. But then, okay, we made it he, sorry. I need to make it they. But then they reached out to me in a very sincere way. We might expand on that a little bit. We met up right away, and they were so sweet and into me. We are a committed couple now, and I feel so happy with them. Okay, so all of this, I feel like manifesting doesn't work for me. I am not sure what the blah, blah, blah. We can just delete that because you're with them now. And I feel so happy with them. All the time I spent doing scenes and affirmations totally paid off. Okay, so then we can delete this. I've done a bunch of scenes, nothing's happening, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we can delete that. And also the kind of the way I'm just being like very, like a pragmatic worker about it. You need to, when you're rewriting it, you want to have that kind of sense of detachment too. But also let your desire lead, because your desire will tell you, how you want to rewrite this. But I just look at it like I'm doing any other kind of rewriting work. And so I'm not really attached to what's there or not there. I just, mentally like, well, no, delete that. And you should have that kind of mindset when you're doing it. Okay. And this one I think is really important for anything you want to manifest. If you're reading success stories, if success stories are upsetting you because you're seeing them in this light, you might want to stop reading success stories for a period of time. But what I was able to do, though I still catch my mind going back, is see the success stories as a clear indicator that you will have the same or greater success. That if you want to call it a sign, that's your sign that you're going to have the same or an even better success, because these people are you too. You wouldn't see success stories if your focus wasn't partially on the possibility of success. So you're giving yourself this encouragement for a very specific reason. This is not another person you're never going to meet having a success story. This is literally you giving yourself encouragement. I mean that literally, okay? I mean, that's what's happening. That's the actual reality. Okay? So having that recognition when you see those success stories is very important. So we'll say, I was so encouraged by all your great success stories. I knew that if they could do it, my success was also guaranteed. Okay, so my friends. Blah. Hopeless, well, we're deleting that. We're deleting hopeless. My friends, let's say all of my friends love my partner, and we have such a great time when we hang out together. They are all so happy for me now that I have the relationship I want. Okay, and like I said, I genericize this, but I'm trying to show you the process of how you would do this. So let's say it wasn't friends for you, but it was like a parent. So it was just like, let's say instead of, my friend say she move on, it was my mom told me to forget this person and, go for someone that's a better fit for me. Well, you would change that to my mom totally loves my partner now and thinks that they're the one for me. She's already talking. She's already started planning the wedding verbally when we meet. So you would just adjust these things, okay? And like I said, adjust them in a natural way. And, if there's other things you wanted that are in the relationship, like you may want to go on a vacation with them, like whatever your big desires are with them, maybe you want to go on a vacation with them, you want to live with them, you want like more of a certain kind of interaction, like you want them to text you more, or you want them to take you out more or something like that. Include those things too. Okay, like we go on so many dates now, or they're moving in next week, or they already moved in. It might be easier for your mind to say they're moving in next week, because then you're not going to start asking yourself throughout the day, well, where's their stuff and why aren't they here? If you start telling yourself they're moving in next week, that might be a little bit easier. It all depends on, where you can keep your mind at predominantly. So the other thing too I want to say is the way you're going to use these is your goal is to make this our edit your predominant thoughts. So you can go through here and pick out affirmations, because these are actually your affirmations. These thoughts are actually your affirmations. People use the word affirmations, but it's kind of that kind of distracts you from what's really going on, because it's just your thoughts. Your thoughts are what's creating your world, whether you call them an affirmation or you call them your normal thoughts. Whatever thoughts you're identifying with are creating your world. But otherwise, you could just look at this and see, well, what's a scene that would encapsulate all of this. So if it is a marriage, the ring, or it could be a friend, or like we use the mom example, or your dad, or whoever who knows about the relationship, telling you they're so happy that y'all are together now. Whatever for you would symbolize this new feeling of this relationship, you can make into a scene. But then also just doing this and rereading it is going to start syncing you up with that mindset and that reality, and catching that feeling of that, and I primarily identifying with that, where all your thoughts are emanating from that feeling is what you're doing, however you want to do it. Okay, so in a career and money, I broke down into two different ones because they are separate manifestations. You don't need a career or a job to have money, and you might want to manifest money that has nothing to do with a career. So for career, we are going to go with someone who wants a job. They don't have a business, they want a job. Okay. Let's say I've been manifesting a job for the last year. Let's give this person a rough time. I have manifested a job for the last year. I have sent out hundreds of resumes and had a few interviews. They show interest, but then they tell me they went with someone else. A lot of these jobs are not even what I want. And then we're going to add a little bit of this overall person and self concept here. I have even interviewed for things I am overqualified for. But I still feel a little green and underqualified for the positions I really want. I don't totally feel like the best person for the job. And they see that. I have never been without work for this long, and it is wearing on my mental health. Okay. We've screwed up this person's life enough. That's enough. This poor person. Okay. Oh, the other thing I haven't put in these examples yet is the focus itself. When I did this one, for me, I included focus as part of it. So let's go into the specific person one, and I'll show, because your mind can flip-flop between the different, if you have a couple different stories, or especially if you had a lot of incidents related to whatever you want, like maybe an old job that you keep thinking about, or if it was a person, like some things they told you, and that stuff is still playing out and revision is not working on it. Well, there probably is something deeper, some other state there that you need to move out of, but overall it's just a focus problem. So like, let's say in the specific person one, they said like, my mind, oh Jesus, it made it small, I have to put it here. Okay, my mind, and let's say I know what I want, but my mind keeps flip-flopping through different unwanted scenarios, and I can't stay focused on the end state. Okay, this is a common problem, so we're going to rewrite this. I know what I want. It's that easy. I know what I want and I have natural focus on it. You could even say, I used to notice the old state creeping in, but now it's gone. It just doesn't show up anymore. And you could even use because I am just so unbelievably happy now. Because why not be unbelievably happy? We really screwed up that person's life in the beginning. Okay. So if you have a similar thing like that where your mind is going through, your mind is having the lack of focus, you need to pick some statements like that and start making those your predominant thoughts. All right, now let's fix this person's career. And then the specific person, when I made it, I was manifesting. Let's change this up quite a bit. A year ago, I decided on the kind of job I want. Now, I'm tempted to make this a little bit more of a stretch than the person might be able to tolerate, which is like I was bombarded with requests for interviews even though I never sent out a resume. If this person went through this, they're going to have a hard time focusing on that then. Now, if you're just starting out the job searching process, thinking about, oh my God, all these companies that I never sent them a resume and they're reaching out to me and saying they want to interview me. Like I turned down so many great offers because there's just too many great offers. Like I'm overwhelmed with amazing job offers. You would want to start with that if you're just starting. But if this person's already experienced that, that's a lot to revise. They're in a pretty low state. So we're going to make it a little bit more subtle for them, a little bit tinier of a shift. A lot of these jobs are not even what I want. I feel a little bad now because I feel like I wrote someone that needs a lot more rewriting than one paragraph is going to do for them. I wrote this person into a lot worse situation than I can get them out of in the next 5 minutes. All right. Well, we are going to totally rewrite them. You might have to make it a little bit more iterative than what I'm going to do right now. Let's reduce it down because, okay. At first, I was struggling to get interviews with places I actually wanted to work. And then we can delete a lot of this stuff as a result, but I'm going to leave the interviewed for things I'm overqualified for and the green because we want to rewrite that in a different way. Let's do a but then. After I rewrote my story, go super made it on it, I started getting requests from places I never even sent a resume to. I felt better in interviews. Okay, so now we can delete this. These companies were a perfect fit for my skills and what I want to do. And I'm doing this kind of this way because even if you had experience like, that year of going through all that and not really getting anywhere, it can change today. It can shift and change today. It really can flip. You don't have to keep dealing with that. Okay, so let's not put. Well, okay, so here's the choice here. If you really know what you want and where you want to work, you could put yourself in the job, and just be like, I have the perfect job now. I mean, it could be that simple. My coworkers are great. We're gonna do two different versions. My coworkers are great. The pay is more than I expected. I have excellent benefits. And I feel excited and happy to do the work I really want to do. Okay. Now we can also do it the way where you would get offers, where right now I have, let's make it two very exciting offers. They both, let's make it, they both have made a formal job offer, including a contract. I am just deciding which one I would like the best. So you can do either of those, right? So you can go with you have the job now and it's great, or give yourself two or three really great options, but include that, it's definite. You don't have to do another interview. There's no more uncertainty in whether or not you're going to get it. These are already offers. You could take this job tomorrow. Okay. And I hope for anyone who's got this far in it, I thought this would be like 20 minutes. It's ended up being an hour. That's okay, though, because I hope each of the nuances of doing this will help you see how you can do it with the nuances of your current thoughts. All right, so money. All right, let's make a more interesting story. When I found out about manifesting, I tested it right away and got some very cool successes. I have always wanted money, Reverend Ike levels of money. So I picked a large amount that I want, but I've had no noticeable movement. My money affirmations seem to be on a low setting. I will say I'm overwhelmed with money every day, but I only get overwhelmed with my bills. I focused generally, let's scroll down a little bit, on financial abundance, and all I got was 20 cents from a class action settlement I didn't know affected me. That actually happened to me. So this is the confessional portion of this. I didn't know affected. I think it's E. Affected me. That actually happened to me. I don't remember if I was doing any specific affirmations or whatever, but I had started including some more money focused affirmations into my general thoughts, and just kind of in that state. And then I got, like, it was like 20 cents. It was like 20 cents or 22 cents from something I didn't even know affected me, and it was a real bill from a real check from a real law firm, but it was like for 22 cents. So those things kind of happen, and but for this person, that's going to feel like a real joke, like a real kick in the gut. Do we want to make this person's life much worse? Oh, so let's say I have always been broke and I grew up poor. So I don't even know what the feeling would be like to be rich. Because that person might be creating that as a block. But you wouldn't want it if you didn't really know what it would feel like, okay? And I would also, to this, if I saw this exact comment somewhere, I would tell this person to look at why do they want to really be rich, what really is their primary desire. Is because it might be that the person wants a freedom or a security. Those are common reasons people want a large amount of money. Or they want to impress someone. And the more they can zoom in on what that specific desire is, they might have more success by aiming for that first. So I know a lot of people will say they want to like manifest a large amount of money, especially a lottery win. What they really want, they would just be happy getting a raise, and a little bit of random money here and there. They really don't need a large amount of money. They just need a reliable, consistent income that's more than what they have now. They just need a little bit of boost in lifestyle so that they could afford some of the bigger things they want, and they would be fine. They wouldn't have, they're not someone who would really want to be, ridiculously wealthy or whatever. But for the sake of this exercise, we're going to say this person wants to be really rich. They want to be like Jeff Bezos rich. They want to be launching dick rockets into space rich. They really want money, and they want money just to have money. Like, yeah, they might want things like freedom and security and flaunting their wealth, but they really just want to have money for them. Like, that's something that they want as their character. And that's fine. You're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want. All right? And there's nothing wrong with money. It certainly isn't, it's just a tool, Okay. So we're going to leave the first sentence in place. I tested it right away and got some very cool successes. We're going to leave that in place. I have always wanted money. We'll add a sentence here. I've always wanted money. And now I know that was God within me telling me that I was guaranteed to be rich. Okay, so I picked a large amount that I want, but I've seen no noticeable movement. Okay. So a lot of people do pick an amount they want. You don't have to, because overall it's just the sense that you always have a lot of money. But let's say that this person has picked a large amount that they want. Now, if they're really in a success story, they would have the large amount they want, or very close to it. And Neville told those stories where people picked an amount and got it. And there's contemporary examples you can find. I remember of Neville's stories, there was a guy who used it in either horse races or dog races. He bet on races to make the specific amount he wanted within a few cents. So people can do that, and let's say this person did do that. So I picked a large amount that I wanted. Just a tenth shift is all there. And then we don't want to fight against the no movement because that might be a little bit difficult. I didn't see any movement for a while. But out of the blue, and that could be where you fill in a sort of story that you would like to play out. So you might say, I encountered a new business opportunity. You could go with an inheritance type story there. If you were focused on the lottery, you could say that, like, I had a dream that I won the lottery after I'd been focusing on winning the lottery for a long amount of time. So you'd want to adjust what your specific story is there. My money affirmations seem to be on a low setting. I almost kind of wrote two people here because one person wanted a specific amount and the other person wanted that constant flow of money. Alright, so for our specific with this person, instead of the large amount coming in one lump sum, let's move it to let's give them a couple sources here. Started working like crazy. I was once overwhelmed with my bills, and now I'm overwhelmed with income. I had to get a new accountant and a tax attorney to handle because look, if you want to be as rich as this person wants to be, you're going to need those people. You probably need a little suite of people. You're going to need some other lawyers as well. I focused generally on financial abundance, and all I got was 20 cents from a class action settlement I didn't know affected me. So let's shift it to where this person is getting more movement from that. I focus generally on financial abundance and more money. Okay. Now let's shift this. For most of my life, I didn't know what it was like to be rich. But now that I am rich, I can say that it is everything I wanted and more. Let's make this person satisfied with being rich. Okay. Okay. And I put these back up and so you can sort of look at them. I might also copy them into, when I post this on YouTube, I'll copy them in so that people can reread them there too. And these are genericized. You want to make them more specific to you. To address whatever your current hangups are. But yeah, this is how you do it. This is literally how you rewrite your story. I really feel the most important part is allowing yourself to say what you really think and feel now and to write it down. Because sometimes we try to push these things away and avoid them and think that, well, I can't even let myself focus on this for 2 seconds. And it's like, you got to realize, your life is, right now, what you don't want is just a first draft. By the time you see a movie in the theaters, an army of people have rewritten it before they even shot the first time, and then there's going to be reshoots and edits and more reshoots. What you end up seeing on a really expensive, large budget movie has no relationship to the first draft. The first draft doesn't even get seen by anyone because that would get rewritten 50 times before the person even starts shopping the script or before they even turn it in to the producer or studio they're working for. So the first draft has no relationship to the final product movie that you end up seeing. Similarly, your life, your first draft, your circumstances now, it's not going to be at all what your life is like once you are in your desired reality, right? And that's totally fine. That iterative process is what you're here to embrace and learn and grow in prowess toward. So it's fine it's your predominant conscious anyway. If what you don't want is your predominant consciousness anyway, you need to address it. And a great way to address it is to write it out and see, okay, well, what are my current sticking points? Where am I letting my mind dwell predominantly? Let me just put it out there, see what it is. And then you can go through one by one and address these things. And if you find that maybe there's something in there that's deeper than this specific desire that you need to address, look, this is even more beneficial and helpful to you to at least identify these things. At last see, oh, that's the problem. Like, I did have a block. I did create a block, and here it is. And this was blocking all kinds of things in my life. This wasn't just blocking the relationship. This was blocking like 50 other things I want. But now I found it because I just wrote this little paragraph and I saw like, oh, that's a really bad assumption. That is a really bad belief. Super important and always a great reminder. You have to understand there is no truth, right? The only truth is that you're a God and your thoughts create your everything. Your thoughts create everything, okay? Your thoughts select from infinite creation. The only truth is you are God and this is all you based on your thoughts and your mind, okay? That's the only truth. Everything else is just a belief. It's just a belief. Whether you want to call it a belief or an assumption, I'll do that in a different video. It's just your belief manifested out. So just change your thoughts, your beliefs, and then that stuff is going to change. None of it's set in stone. None of it's going to be that way permanently. And I saw in this comment that inspired this whole thing, it was quite sad. The person had a belief that they wrote out. That's a bad belief. And it was a self-identity that a certain behavior was going to always push people away and had done for them for years. And it's like, well, that's just your belief. You could either decide that you either don't do that anymore or that when you do that, the person's fine with it. They don't leave. They don't run away. They enjoy it. That doesn't prevent you from being in a relationship. But I saw what this person was doing and it was like, oh, you just need to change like these 5 things and you'll be good. Like, it was a lot of things that needed to change, but there was one core one in there that I saw that I was like, that one, you could fix all the other stuff, but if you don't fix that one, you're going to continue to have a lot of really disappointed situations. And so when you first write that paragraph and you look through it, if you see you've got one of those in there, it's not a bad idea to make that a primary focus until it fully manifests out, and then all the other stuff will fall in line. All right, but I hope this was helpful, and if this does really well, like on, well, I can decide if it does well or not. As I come up with more things like these, I'll start doing them more and more because with the streams, I've been including little exercises for y'all, but I think it's cool to like actually do them, and that it might give you a little bit more motivation and insight into actually doing the exercises yourself. All right. Next stream will be another lecture. Probably won't be tomorrow. It might be. Otherwise, it'll be Monday or Tuesday. But I've got to start editing one of the other 5 lessons videos to put onto YouTube So that might be taking up the majority of my time until I get that done, because I have 2 that I need to do this week. So I may have to skip a stream this week. But yeah, I'll see y'all again soon, and thanks so much for tuning in.